Welcome back with another banger. It's the React Files, where we react to
the creepiest, craziest, scariest TikToks. You should watch them all.
Hope you're having a good night. If you haven't already, please take a second just to smash that like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, just to make sure the algorithm knows what's up. So let's get straight to it.
It's a rare condition this day and age to read any good news on the newspaper page. Love and tradition of the grand design, some people say, is even harder to find. Well, then there must be some magic clue inside these gentle walls. 'Cause all I see is a tower of dreams, real love bursting out of every scene.
Yeah, as you see, that was a creepy AI version of the Family Matters intro. That was crazy, right? You know, developed by Mid-Journey and Runway. The grandparents almost dead, right? How the freaking monster was the mailman. We can't ignore the obvious fact. That's pretty creepy. Could you imagine growing up watching that kind of sitcom? Like, yo, let me know in the comments down below.
So we all heard about Texas and the government getting into it at the border, right? Yeah, over the situation about the migrants and how they keep coming in waves, thousands and thousands and thousands of migrants. And Texas finally had enough of the BS and said they're going to take matters into their own hands. And then they started blocking these government border agents. But what I'm not hearing people talk about is it's not only Texas. There's like a whole bunch of states that's helping Texas with this. Yeah, Greg Abbott, he held a press conference with a bunch of other governors of other states in the U.S. saying they're going to band together to secure the borders.
They are deploying military and or law enforcement officers to help Texas secure the border. In addition to these governors with us here today, the following governors have also provided either military personnel or law enforcement personnel. Governor Lee from Tennessee, Governor Little from Idaho, Governor DeSantis from Florida, Governor DeWine from Ohio, Governor Sanders from Arkansas, Governor McMaster from South Carolina, Governor Youngkin from Virginia, Governor Justice from West Virginia, Governor Mark Gordon from Wyoming, Governor Burgum from North Dakota. All together, counting Texas, we have 15 governors in 15 states from the United States.
If y'all want part 2, hit that plus button, go in the comments and click the video.
Take a look at this video. Absolutely terrifying. This is a migrant that is lacing a threat to Americans when people ask him, "Who are you? Where are you coming from?"
If you are smart enough, you will know who I am. But you are really not smart enough to know who I am. But soon you're gonna know who I am.
Soon you're going to know who I am. Did that accent sound to you like a Mexican accent? It didn't sound like one to me. The internet sleuthed and tried to determine who exactly that person was because obviously it seems like he is threatening us. It is being speculated that that individual is Mavsum Samadov. Mavsum Samadov leads the Azerbaijan Islamic Party, and they have close ties to Hezbollah. So, yes, it is being speculated that at this moment, terrorists, people that hate the United States, are being allowed over the border. And what they're going to do, well, maybe exact revenge. But this doesn't seem to concern the federal government at all. In fact, now that states are starting to say we need to do something about this, the Biden administration is suing those states to stop them. That's what's going on in Texas right now. Just to give you a roundabout number, 6.2 million migrants have illegally crossed into the United States, and obviously Texas is a massive border state. So the governor of Texas ordered for the National Guard to put up razor wire, to install razor wire on the border to stop this influx of migration. Why would the federal government have a problem with that? They did. The Biden DOJ sued them to stop that razor wire from being put up. And then what happened was that lawsuit went all the way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court decided in favor of the Biden administration. They said, nope, you have to take down that razor wire because the feds are saying that they need that stretch of land to remain open. Now, obviously, Texas did not take kindly to that. Hey, we are Texas. We joined the Union in 1845 under the expectation that you would provide us protection from foreign threats. You have now failed when it comes to your side of the deal. Texas Governor Greg Abbott issued this official statement regarding the Supreme Court decision and how they would be responding. The federal government has broken the compact between the United States and the states. The executive branch of the United States has a constitutional duty to enforce federal laws protecting states, including immigration laws on the books right now. President Biden has refused to enforce those laws and has even violated them. The result is that he has smashed records for illegal immigration. Despite having been put on notice in a series of letters, one of which I delivered to him by hand, President Biden has ignored Texas's demand that he perform his constitutional duties. Under President Biden's lawless border policies, more than 6 million illegal immigrants have crossed our southern border in just 3 years. That is more than the population of 33 different states in this country. This illegal refusal to protect the states has inflicted unprecedented harm on the people all across the United States. James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, and the other visionaries who wrote the U.S. Constitution foresaw that states should not be left to the mercy of a lawless president who does nothing to stop external threats like cartels smuggling millions of illegal immigrants across the border. That is why the framers included both Article 4, which promises that the federal government shall protect each state against invasion, and Article 1, which acknowledges the state's sovereign interest in protecting their borders. The failure of the Biden administration to fulfill the duties imposed by Article 4 has triggered Article 1, Clause 3, which reserves to this state the right of self-defense. For these reasons, I have already declared an invasion under Article 1, Clause 3 to invoke Texas's constitutional authority to defend and protect itself. That authority is the supreme law of the land and supersedes any federal statutes to the contrary. The Texas National Guard, the Texas Department of Public Safety, and other Texas personnel are acting on that authority as well as state law to secure the Texas border. Wow. So what we have here is Texas is saying, you've abused your power and we are not listening. We are now sending our National Guard to defend the border. What happens next? Is Biden going to send federal agents to shoot Americans on behalf of allowing illegal immigrants to flood into our spaces, into our neighborhoods, into our schools? Seems unlikely, especially since other states are now saying that they stand with Texas. Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida tweeted this: if the Constitution really made states powerless to defend themselves against invasion, it wouldn't have been ratified in the first place, and Texas would have never joined the union when it did. Texas is upholding the law while Biden is flouting it. Florida will keep assisting Texas with personnel and assets. And he wasn't the only one. Glenn Youngkin of Virginia tweeted this: Virginia stands with Texas. Greg Abbott is doing the job Joe Biden and his border czar refused to do to secure our border. The Biden administration has turned every state into a border state. We must stop the flow of fentanyl, save lives, and secure our southern border. Kevin Stitt of Oklahoma tweeted this: simply, Oklahoma stands with Texas. Governor Kristi Noem of South Dakota followed and said, Governor Abbott is exactly right to invoke Texas's constitutional authority to defend itself. The Biden administration has created a national security crisis and put Americans in danger. Their failure is an unconstitutional dereliction of duty. South Dakota has been proud to help Governor Abbott's efforts to secure our border. Brian Kemp of Georgia wrote, "Enough is enough. Our southern border is in crisis thanks to the Biden administration's refusal to do their job. Greg Abbott and the state of Texas have our full support." As I said, this is a constitutional crisis that is happening right now, and you need to be aware of it. It will be Biden's move next, but suffice it to say that I stand with Texas. This is exactly what needs to happen. If you are not awake now to the crisis that we are facing at our border, then I hope that listening to this will make you aware of it, because what is happening today is going to impact tomorrow. Our children are not safe. I am being serious when I say that every single person should be learning to defend themselves. We are allowing criminals and we are allowing drugs over the border. And I am not sure, again, why it is that our federal government wants this to happen. This doesn't make sense. This is evil. This is actually evil, what is taking place. And of course, it's not because they're concerned about racism or xenophobia. Something much more nefarious is at foot. So pay attention, you guys.
Yo, she makes a great point and touches on what I just said. We got to think about tomorrow, right? We got to keep our kids and the next generation safe at all costs.
This is the most powerful state in America, Texas, which was once part of Mexico. Today, it's an economic powerhouse in the United States next to California. It has a GDP of $2.4 trillion, which is almost 9% of the country's GDP, surpassing major developed countries like Canada, South Korea, Russia, Australia, and even Mexico itself, which has a GDP of $1.8 trillion. To put this into perspective, if Texas were a country, it would rank as the 8th largest economy in the world. One key factor for Texas's economic might is it has the largest oil and gas fields that have ever been discovered anywhere in the world. Texas alone accounts for a staggering 43% of the United States crude oil production and 25% of its natural gas production. Not just that, Texas alone produces 20% of the United States electricity through wind power and solar energy. So Texas is not just a state, it's a powerhouse shaping America's future.
I never knew that. I'm sure I heard of it in school, just didn't pay attention. They were part of Mexico, right? And all that natural gas they got. Like, they could really be a country on their own. That's crazy. They'll be 8th, right? And I believe in the GDP. Like 2.4 trillion. Bro, why wouldn't you want to work with them? You know what I mean? That's your bread and butter if you're a president. You gotta keep them happy. You gotta keep them palms greased. You know what I'm saying? You gotta stand on business on this one.
19 states have seceded. The United States Army ramps up activity.
The White House issued warnings to the Western forces as well as the Florida Alliance.
The three-term president assures the uprising will be dealt with swiftly.
Let me know if you want to try anything on.
Are you guys aware there's like a pretty huge civil war going on all across America?
We just try to stay out. With what we see on the news, seems like it's for the best.
Citizens of America, the so-called Western forces of Texas and California have suffered a very great defeat at the hands of the United States military.
Mr. President, do you regret the use of airstrikes against American citizens? We're moving to D.C. today.
We need to go down there.
They shoot journalists on sight in the Capitol. Every instinct in me says this is death. Bloody.
Every time I survived the war zone, I thought I was sending a warning home. Don't do this. But here we are.
There's some kind of misunderstanding here. What? Well, you're American, okay?
Okay. What kind of American are you?
You don't know?
The Western forces will reach the White House on July 4th.
Oh my God.
Get in the car! Get in the car! Move, move, move!
You're gonna hang back.
I'm not hanging back.
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go, 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 go!
God bless America.
That's gonna be a blockbuster movie right there. It ain't talking about no Captain America and Iron Man either. It's very eerily similar to what's going on right now.
So you mean to tell me it's the first month of the year, we off to a great start, and Joe Biden decided, let me go into a civil war with Texas? This cannot be. Who is this nigga? If you're not already tapped in, keep watching, because this might affect you. So basically in Texas, there is a wire that passes through the border, and it basically passes through Eagle Pass, Shelby Park. And the wire obviously is basically stopping people from trying to migrate to Texas. But my boy Joe Biden in the Supreme Court said, nah, that shit cooked. I don't know why, but he went to go send his goons to cut off the wire. But what turned everything upside down is the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, said, nah, lil' bro, you ain't doing that. My boy Greg is standing on straight border business. He got his goons with him too. Not only did he tell the Border Patrol and the Supreme Court that they not cutting out wire, but he also pulled out receipts and said that the Texas constitutional rights say that they cannot let any migrants in. Now we in a standoff, but this is where everything turns left. No pun intended. So right now, majority of the states are siding with Texas. And they basically saying, nah, we stand with Greg. In conclusion, if we cannot all come into one agreement, we might have to go into a civil war. For y'all that still don't understand how crazy this sounds, the last time we were in a civil war was 1865. You remember the books you used to read in American history? The movies you used to watch on the American Civil War? We about to be the next movie.
Yo, they about to have us out here looking like Glory. Oh my Lord, 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 Lord. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? I know y'all remember that. We all remember that. What you think about that? Let me know in the comments down below. We about to start looking like Glory, the movie. It's that joint with Denzel.
I don't know what the fuck is going on right now, but we need to get the fuck out of Texas. So just in case you've been under a rock for the last 2 days, apparently the governor of Texas went to the border of Texas and put a fucking razor wire there. And then the president told him to take the shit down. He declines. They go take the shit down. He put the shit back up. And bruh, it's getting so deep to the point where they making stand with Texas shit. It's literally trending right now, calling it the Texas border crisis. And not to mention, they just released in the last 24 hours that if you want to enroll into the Navy, you do not need a diploma or anything. Just bring your ass. What is that about? And also, this guy came into the picture and he said if he was to be elected president again, he is going to team up with the governor of Texas, and they're going to continue building this razor wire at the border. And now, how odd, with all this Civil War shit going on, remember they just released at the beginning of this year, well, in kind of December, that this movie was coming out? Now the fucking governor of Texas and the president is fighting. Like, what the fuck is really going on, bro?
Yeah, I'm happy he touched on that. That man is connecting the dots, right? What a coincidence, that movie coming out in April. Ain't no telling what state we'll be in at that time, right? Yo, crazy. You know? Just like Leave the World Behind. Or what about The Purge? Remember that? Man, yeah. Great movies, right? I'm sure Civil War will be a great movie as well. Plenty of Easter eggs, right? And I'm sure this will all work itself out. But it's just a big coincidence. What do y'all think? You think it's a coincidence? Or no?
Texas has a right as a state to stop criminals from coming into our state, to make arrests of those criminals. And we have National Guard as well as Texas Department of Public Safety officers who are there to make those arrests and to deny illegal entry. And Joe Biden actually does have an option here. Joe Biden's option is to enforce the laws of the United States and stop this illegal entry.
It is just Greg Abbott. Now 25 Republican governors are siding with Governor Greg Abbott, signing a joint statement in support of Texas.
As a matter of fact, in my book, Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, I break down specifically where in the New Testament of the Bible, where Jesus is speaking, and I break down where Thoth is speaking in the Emerald Tablets. 36,000 years ago, remember, the Bible is written 100 AD to 900 AD. This is a current new book. This is new information. Nobody in the Bible wrote any part of the Bible. All of the people that are that supposedly have their own books in the Bible didn't write any of it. They all were long gone and dead, many, many years. And then somebody in the future, followers of Thoth, followers of Hermes, are the people that actually wrote the Bible based off of information they acquired from the Sumerian tablets and the Emerald tablets. And in the Emerald tablets, when Thoth is speaking, he's saying the same exact words that Jesus is speaking, or Yeshua, actually his real name, is speaking in the New Testament. Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Riddle of millenniums. What came first, the chicken or the egg? My imagination about these emerald tablets are gaining the best of me. Like, were they really emerald? Like, were they just carved out, you know? I think it's a great illustration in the mind, the emerald tablets, right? I wonder if Sonic was based off the emerald tablets, you know, Emerald City, right? What you think?
This is a picture of the pyramids in Mexico. As you can see, the step pyramids.
Let's go in and see what they found in these step pyramids.
That's right, the Emerald Tablets. And in case you didn't know, the Emerald Tablets were written by Thoth, aka Tahuti. You may have seen him in a bunch of Egyptian texts. Let's go in and see what these Emerald Tablets have in them. It says right here, the Atlanteans explain the reason for the destruction of Atlantis. Not the sinking of Atlantis, the destruction. It says confidential knowledge was imparted to untrustworthy people, and the latter began using it for evil purposes. They also adopted blood sacrifices. This resulted in numerous incarnations of hellish beings among people. Wow. It goes on to say when the destruction was happening, 2 of the islands sunk into the ocean. And here's the kicker. Thoth the Atlantean, not African, not Egyptian, Atlantean, moved to Egypt, parentheses, Chem. So it showed you he moved there. From here, Tamari, with a group of other divine Atlanteans. So it shows you that they started here and they started building everywhere else. As you can see here on this map, you see how they lined up. They did a 3, 6, and 9. For anybody that knows anything about the teachings, you know that technique is a manifestation technique. Moving right along. It says right here that Thoth explains a higher technique for meditation. The temple and its particular variation. The pyramid. Speaking about the temple on top of the pyramid, which we know Kemet does not have temples on top of its pyramids. Timari is the only ones that do. I'll get out the way so you can screenshot this document. It says right here, preserve and keep the command of the primordial one. And as you can see here, it says existing at the beginning. Here's a couple more, I gotta go fast. And here, and here. I recommend this read for your life. Peace to the gods and the goddesses.
Talk about seek and ye shall find. I didn't realize the next video would actually have a picture of them. Like they were real emerald. Like, whoa. Interesting. I gotta find out what website that is. That's some interesting stuff. We all know about the 369. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Think that emerald tablet was real?
The Emerald Tablets, authored by Thoth, known as the Atlantean Priest King, are a collection of tablets. According to ancient Egyptian records, Thoth ruled over Kem for an astonishing 14,000 years, with this information originating directly from Egyptian sources, not modern conjecture. Thoth, though prominent, didn't assert divinity like some of his relatives. Instead, he understood human vulnerability and refrained from exploiting it. He identified as a son of Atlantis and occasionally called himself the Son of Man, akin to Yeshua's biblical reference. This distinction is intriguing, setting Thoth apart from those who claimed divine status. The question arises, are Thoth's Emerald Tablets a myth or hidden awaiting discovery? The mystery endures, but one thing is clear. Thoth's legacy continues to captivate and inspire those seeking deeper spiritual understanding and growth. The tablets serve as a testament to a figure who, despite his remarkable reign, embraced humility and connection with humanity.
If you look at the family tree of Jesus and of all the prophets, they all go back to Abraham. They all go back to Adam. Bible stories were taken from the Sumerian Emerald Tablets and the Dead Sea Scrolls that predate the Bible by thousands and thousands of years. Those are the original stories. Their prophets and the lineage all go back to Abraham, and he was a bona fide Sumerian. These stories are from the Sumerian scriptures. So when you yell at someone that believes in the Sumerian scriptures, you are yelling at the father of your Bible story, because that's where it came from. These are the same entities, the same people, with different names, because based on the religion and how it progressed and how it evolved and how the stories were modified to fit their narratives, these are all the same people. Jesus is a direct descendant from the bloodline of Enki, the creator god. So both stories are true, just that the Bible version is cut down and has some changed names. And some characters as Enki and Enlil have been fused and merged together to create the one God image instead of them being two. When where you go to the Sumerian scriptures, you can identify the two people as two separate beings. So you're both right. Jesus is returning. The Anunnaki are returning. It is the same bloodline. They are the same people.
Very interesting. It's the first time I'm hearing that. What if they are the same, right? What if everybody's just been talking about the same thing and just got the names mixed up? Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think?
The sun is its father, the moon its mother. The wind carried it in its belly, and the earth nursed it. What in the Hermes? Those were lines 4, 5, and 6 of the Emerald Tablet. But what do they mean? Disclaimer, you guys, no one really knows what they mean, and different people have been coming up with different theories since they've been found. So given our resources and the theories we've read and reflected on, we being me, here is what I come to see in it. The line before this is as above, so below. And remember how I said that that was a mistranslation and I retranslated it? And I know that that might look like a very minor, pedantic, semantic difference, whatever. It's important because without it, the lines we just recited wouldn't make sense. Because the above and below are of one another, that's a clue that there's a kind of transference happening rather than reflection. And what these next lines are doing are essentially breaking down the transference. So the above is of below and the below is of above, and they're both of one. And that gives rise to two essential movements: a descent from above to below, and a rise from below to above. And what we're seeing in these three lines is essentially the descent. The sun is its father. Think fire, energy, source. The moon, its mother. The moon being the reflector of the sun, or the reflector of source, allowing it to travel even closer to us. And the mother being a preparation for the next two to come. Because while the father is the source of creation, the mother is the act of creation. And the act of creation has three parts: the moon, then the wind, or womb that carries it in its belly. And finally, the earth to nurse or feed it, to really bring it to life, to give it those boom. So what's happening in these 3 lines? Source is essentially traveling from sun to reflect off of moon, to travel through the wind, to manifest into form and matter. Because all things are done by one, by the adaptation of one manifestation. Also in the line before. And it's really interesting to note here the Kabbalistic echoes. Because in Kabbalah, Ein Sof travels all the way down the tree of life until it manifests in Malkut. And what's Malkut? It's you, baby. It's you.
It's you, baby. It's you. You are the kingdom. That's right. Another good breakdown by Twitchy.witch. Yeah, she be dropping gems. You know what I mean? So yeah. Like she said, no one truly knows what's written on the emerald tablets, right? But from what we gather and understand. So you take it with a grain of salt. It's great information. You do the research, continue your research, come to your own conclusion, and share.
What we're about to see has no characters, it has no people. It is a film to describe to you and explain visually the effect of cymatic frequencies on texture, structure, water, oil. If you spare a little of your imagination as you watch this film as it runs, you will see many things that answer many questions. You will see living forms, living amoeba, almost animal-like creatures. You will see continents being formed, the Earth itself coming into existence, explosions, eruptions, atomic explosions and bombs. You can see all this and watch it before your eyes. Everything owes its existence solely and completely to sound. Sound is the factor which holds it together. Sound is the basis of form and shape. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. Into the great voids of space came a sound.
That little intro was mind-blowing, mind-bending. So bringing matter to life with sound on YouTube is where you can find it. That's crazy. Like, it makes a lot of sense, right? How the void and the sound, right? Leading to creation. You know, what if we're all just talking about the same stuff? Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of cymatics? Yeah, I've never heard of this shit.
If you knew this in school, you would be the smartest person in your school. That is because this is how everything we study works. It is the concept of oscillation or vibration. Let me show you how it works. Let's break this wave up into a band like our eyes and our ears do. If we take the bottom right corner of the spectrum and connect it with the top left, we can see how these blend into each other. That is how we mix notes in music and colors in art. You are now an artist. That is fun, but what about the not fun stuff, like math? To figure out where any of those balls are, we just need the X and the Y measurement. That is trigonometry. If I keep doubling how fast that wave is going, it starts to add these nodes, circles within circles. Enough of these nodes creates the illusion of 3D and the study of spheres. Since we know trigonometry, the trig of all of these circles that make the sphere is calculus and the basis for physics. The interaction of these spheres gives us the torus. The torus shows us how electrons orbit a nucleus, creating these patterns that interact with other patterns, creating matter. You have now unlocked particle physics. Before we get too advanced, we need to go back to the sphere, because the interaction of these spheres is a study in itself. Studying the interaction of spheres gives us geometry. Geometry. From here, we can see how nature uses this, and then use it in our own designs, like in architecture or engineering. With a better understanding of how nature builds things, we can use that information to build our own things. Now, if we go back and look at the shape of atoms, then they start to make sense. Vibrations above atoms make molecules, vibrations above molecules make all the stuff. Vibrations above the stuff create stuff within stuff. It's called an emulsion. Like this, it creates a moving system with boundaries, allowing more interactions with more stuff. Above that, we get systems that organize and replicate, creating primitive forms of life. Find out what you and your kids are interested in and use that.
Yo, that's crazy. I feel like I'm smarter already. Yeah, in high school, I failed calculus. I wasn't even dealing with no trigonometry. I didn't see the purpose or the point in doing it, right? But seeing how it reflects with nature now, sound frequencies, imagine if it was broken down like that. Like I might have, given some more interest into it, but back then it was boring. That was cool. That was pretty cool. That was baseforge.us. Go look them up, Yeah, baseforge.us, For you parents, go look them up and show it to your kids. Make learning cool again. For sure.
This is what working with a vibrational frequency of 528 hertz can create in your life. 528 hertz is the vibrational frequency of the sound of the sun, the vibrational frequency of the feeling of love, the vibrational frequency of healthy DNA, and the vibrational frequency of chlorophyll. I meditate on 528, I channel 528, and I play solfeggio frequencies of 528. And you can see right here the magic it creates.
And that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed tonight's rabbit hole. And if you haven't already, please take a second just to smash that like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, just to make sure the algorithm knows what's up. So what we gonna do, y'all? That's right. Run these numbers up. Thanks again. Until next time.